this first half of the league with
This is Joe Cole.
This is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and you're listening to the London
is Blue podcast.
All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode of the London is Blue podcast. This is your host, Brandon, joined by my co-host, Dan, not Nick. He's too busy having dinner with the CEO of his company.
It's his birthday week.
Big wig Nick, all right? He's earned it. He needs it. 34 came at him fast, so we're gonna let him ease into it for the entire week. But Dan, you hear the excitement in my voice. It is not because of the Juventus match review that we're about to do and the result, but it's because of the guest that we have on and the friendship and the excitement that comes with said guest.
The chosen one, Jenny Chiu, back at it, back with us, fresh off the Twitch streams, fresh off the CBS, Paramount Plus type of coverage action, all the goodness. Welcome back, Jenny.
Thank you, guys. I literally wasted 30 minutes of their time before this to tell them how much I missed them and to recap. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. And I am such a fan of the fact that I'm liked by your fan base.
Yep. So customary plug, go tweet at her, post on Instagram, tell her that you're excited she was on. Always appreciate that. But yeah, we took 30 minutes, Jenny, because the last time we talked to each other was in person for the first time in Porto, Portugal for the Champions League final. Holy smokes. You and Nico turned the corner. You had bright sun behind you and it was just like you just appeared.
Yes, that was a good day to get to meet you guys post-win. And we were talking about the events that you guys had the night before. Not the same as mine, but you guys had fun for sure. Nick, all of you guys were wearing sunglasses, I believe. That was the way that ended. But yeah, it's been a while. Sadly, it's been a while that I haven't gotten to interact with y'all.
Well, we're excited because you've been off doing some really, really cool stuff. Obviously, a lot of our listeners, we have a crossover with U.S. soccer. So we know you've been doing a lot of stuff in the international game as well. So look, Miss Worldwide, whatever it is, right? You've been off globetrotting and it's super exciting. So we got her for a night. Let's go ahead and get into it before she runs away. Dan, we're going to be talking about what went wrong in Turin, the potential fixes, and obviously Jenny's going to be surprising us some random questions that we didn't plan for throughout the script. So buckle in. It's going to be a good one. But Dan, 3-word match review, patented, trademarked, restricted. You know the rules. What do we have?
Well, we start off with a positive for Millhouse with the Chelsea women won because they got a nice little victory today against Birmingham City with many, many goals after a little bit of frustration. Grizz with the 0 bar connection or no network found, maybe about the service that we were not giving to our striker. Ultra Ernie with the Italian Watford one, ? Which maybe talks to the league form of Juventus. We had AJ with the sorry ball strikes back. We had CFC Central with the Italian job, Matt with the old lady's lullaby, and then Michael with the curse expletive, swear. A very PG version of frustration.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably said something else, but we appreciate you, making it PG. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes I say something and next thing you know, poor old Bert Cube has to explain to his kid why I said something mean about Tottenham. I apologize for that, sir. But you should know by now how it works. My 3-word match review is stats versus eyeballs. I think I'm going to really take the side of one of those today. I'm excited to plant my flag. Dan, what about you?
Oh, Tuchel's Turin tumble.
I got it. I am not very cheeky with these, as you guys all are, and you listeners who thought about it. I really forgot about the 3-word match review. That's how long it's been. But I think that the biggest thing I'm going to talk about today is I'm not worried. I know that you guys don't like this and you're unhappy, but I'm just like very chill about this situation. And I guess we'll get into it a little bit later.
Jenny, bring us some Why Not Us vibes in the early elements of this pod, and I love it.
I mean,
all right.
Okay, we'll get into it a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just a teaser, right? This is just to keep them looking for more. Dan, you've got some more Apple Podcasts 5-star reviews to read off. Who do we have this time?
Yeah, we had Pool Shark 34 from the UK, Sam Taylor 2019 from the US, Chase S, also known as Trini Chase from the US, engages with us a lot on Twitter, so we appreciate that. And Kill 8 ILL, so I'm basing Kill Bill probably, from India, all leaving wonderful 5-star reviews in Apple Podcasts. Again, got a new iPhone, using Apple Podcasts, just leave a little 5-star review right now. Just get it done. Say, hey, love the fact that Jenny was back on or something. I don't know, write something nice.
Please do. Anyways, let's jump into it. It was Juventus this past 29th of September in the Champions League at the Allianz Stadium. Is Juventus 1, Chelsea 0. One, Jake refuses to play match highlights when we lose. Appreciate that. Two, the fifth stand does not have rights to the highlights for Champions League because UEFA is greedy. So we're just going to have to go right into the lineup, Dan, and then I'll hit the stats right after.
Sure was many between the sticks. Christensen, Silva, Rudiger as the back three, Azpilicueta, Jorginho, Kovacic, and Alonso as your four, with Havertz, Ziyech, and Lukaku in attack, if you can call it that. We saw Kepa, Timo Werner, Bettinelli, Saul, and Sarr as unused substitutes. And then, yes, we got a full complement, a true fiver from Thomas Tuchel with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Trev Chalobah, Ross Barkley, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Ben Chilwell all coming off the bench in this one.
All right, top line stats. Chelsea had 74% possession away to Juventus. We had 16 shots, 1 on target. They had 6 shots, 1 on target. We had 769 passes. They had 288. I'll let that sit in for a little bit. We had 90% pass accuracy. They had 74%. We had 18 fouls. We kicked the shit out of them. They had 8. We had 3 cautions. They had 1. We had 1 offsides to their 4. We had 8 corners to their 1. All right, that is very, very lopsided. And then at Kaylee_graphics with the XG, 1.0 for Juventus, 1.2 for Chelsea. He called it an even conservative match. The scoreline obviously being 1-0. Jenny, XG, stats, lineup. What caught your eye the most out of all that?
Obviously, the shot on target is the biggest stat. That's like, wow. You got 16 shots and 1 on target. I'm not good at percentages, Dan. Do you know that off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, I know that's a fraction. It's 1/16. I don't know the direct conversion. Why are we going with math? It's 6.25%.
Wow.
Yes.
And to have nearly 800 passes in a match and to not have a goal, I guess that's what you were getting at, Brandon's, in terms of stats versus, what was it, eyesight? Or what was your?
Eyeballs, eye test.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, Juventus definitely let them have the ball and they weren't able to produce anything there. Yeah, I mean, the same thing in the Man City game. The fact that we're not getting shots on target is obviously what I'm most worried about. But again, not worried. Go ahead.
All right. Well, add up to Joe with the one random stat says 45th minute, 10 seconds. Federico Chiesa is giving Juventus the lead just 10 seconds into the second half against Chelsea, the earliest second half goal Opta have on record in a Champions League match since 2003-2004 sleeping. They sure as shit were. I can't imagine how frustrated Tuchel was. We literally just came out of the locker room, had a fresh plan, hyped him up. Here we, oh my gosh, he didn't even get to his seat and they'd already conceded. So, Nick, do you have a fill-in NV or an NPET shithouse moment of the match, or should we just go ahead and move on?
Well, I did message Nick and he did not have one, but it's probably Ziyech with his like standing up like right in front of Locatelli and giving him like a full type of show for a few seconds and eventually getting pushed away.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, it unfortunately not really. I mean, Rudiger was reduced to yelling at the referee and getting cautioned the second he put on the armband. I mean, well, it wasn't a lot in this one, unfortunately, when it came to a fight and shithousery. So we're going to go ahead and take our ad break. When we get back, we're going to go right into what went wrong, right? We're going to talk about Tuchel's quotes post-match about how he's disappointed. Matt Law giving us the ugly stats to go along with our ugly crying. So we'll be right back, but thanks to these sponsors for financially supporting the show. And now that we're back, I want to give a huge shout out to Melina, who is on the Patreon yearly bandwagon. We appreciate that. And not only is she subbed, she's in Discord, but we also have 2 more pods this week. That's right. I'm sorry, 1 more. It's Thursday by the time this comes out. This is the second week in a row we've had 5 pods. Jenny, I apologize. This is becoming a full-time side hustle. Don't tell my boss. But anyways, we have a Southampton preview coming out Friday with the Chelsea Youth update per usual. So Dan, topic 1, what went wrong? The floor is yours.
Mostly everything? Apprehensively, he said, looking into the camera. It was not a good look for Chelsea. I mean, this was a side that looked disinterested in trying to really attack, to try to play with pace, looked defeated with not finding early success. I actually think the wind really came out of the sails after Juventus made it extremely difficult for the first 15 to 20 minutes. And then this side never looked as interested to get back into play with the level of intensity or a level of connection that we have seen this side is capable of producing. And so, I mean, Tuchel's quote regarding the loss, saying that it was disappointed we all were. It was a tough game that we expected. It's never easy to score against teams like Juventus. You have to be patient, play with zero mistakes. You have to be clever, high rhythm in decision-making. I felt us yesterday totally sharp and ready. Today it was like not like this, and I don't know why. So, I mean, Jenny, it was flat. It was a very flat performance from a side that can be way more dynamic than what we saw today.
Well, I think that one of the biggest things is the fact that Mason Mount was missing, and he brings that dynamic factor. He brings that energy level, and that's contagious on the field. So maybe I'm trying to look at like who else brings that spark that like kind of gets everyone else going and sprinting. And the way that Havertz and Ziyech play is different. I don't see them bringing that certain aspect. I'm trying to look at who else does that for the team. And maybe that's
N'Golo Kante, but he's also missing.
See, exactly. Like I'm looking at this roster. I'm like, who's the one that brings that? Like, let's go. Like fire, press. I mean, press is the wrong word because the press is different, but intensity, and they're missing. And obviously the slow aspect goes into that. So that's a big one for me. And I know that we want to trust our subs, but he needs to be on the field.
For the FIFA heads, this is the attacking work rate Jenny's talking about, not the defensive work rate, right? But when you are in possession, are we hitting the channels? Are we making the runs? Are we stretching the defense? Are we coming back? Alonso is a very casual player. Jorginho is heavy in the press defensively, but offensively, he hangs around, right? Kovacic, they like to hang around. Ziyech likes to hang around. Havertz, he messes with teams. He walks and then he's gone. And you're like, wait, where did he go? But the thing is, it's not constant. And so deception is his part of the game. Lukaku was just chilling on an island. Unfortunately, there was no umbrella and, maybe cocktail for him on this one. He was just up at the top of the pitch with 4 brutish defenders ready to kick him anytime he got it. Dan, my big problem with today and, what are these quotes and things like that is that like this team, when I saw the lineup, I'm like, all right, this team should be good enough to go toe-to-toe with Juventus. Then we get Juventus coming out, and they're not that great. So now I'm even more frustrated that this Chelsea team don't smell the blood in the water or sense the opportunity to go get it. And it was just very disconnected again. So to hear Tuchel say, no, everything was sharp, we were ready to go, I have no idea why that's happened. That would be like a huge dip in 24 hours. And that concerns me. We did enough to win on the day. I went through the stats. I mean, we just had 74% possession on the road to Juventus. Name a time when we ever thought that was going to be a thing. We had all of the shots in the world, all right? But the problem is when you have 16 shots, 7 of them are blocked, and apparently 8 are off target. 1 of 16, 6.25% is Dictionary Dan put out there. Not good enough. Really frustrated. 8 shots off target, 7 blocked. It's not good enough.
Well, yes, it's not good enough. But I mean, I don't necessarily know if I agree with the concept that like we did enough to win. I mean, the shot Lukaku had was not great. The 2 headers from Havertz
was the opportunity great or was the shot not? You know what I'm saying? Because like XG, what is that? Probably 0.3, 0.4.
Well, that yes,
execution.
It was a good XG shot. The execution of it was poor.
Execution was shit all day, but I think that's my point. Is like from Tuchel's standpoint, he's like, I want to give you a system to create. They created, but not quality.
So I disagree because I think even if those had gone in, I actually would have deemed that we were lucky and we would have been the beneficiary of like our good fortune coming home versus like this was a slow side. Like there were 2 passes very early on. Like Kovacic had that turnover, and what was it? I forget who was trying to shoot. Not Berdineschi, but
Chiesa?
Rabiot.
Oh yeah.
No, Rabiot had that shot that was just like completely off. Like he went for it versus playing in Berdineschi, and it would have been a goal. Like that would have been a very early goal and completely have changed it. Like we actually benefited from their mistakes in terms of an attacking phase, but there were points where Ziyech was dropping back beyond the halfway line to go reclaim a pass because we were underhitting, we were overhitting, we were moving, laterally versus trying to put the ball up the field and move it quicker. Like this type of block, there was so much space in between where our attackers were and like where Lukaku was on an island. There was one point where there were like 4 Juventus players like surrounding him. I'm thinking about like a Mario Kart situation where like he's the driver and they're the shells and they're just rotating around him because like nobody could get through. It was really like there was just no connective tissue with this team today. I think, Jenny, that kind of talks to your point of like Mason and N'Golo not being available changes the dynamic of this side and how they're able to play and not play. And like this, it's not good when they're out.
I think we should give some credit, like kind of, you were getting at it, but like the Juventus backline did a great job of shutting Lukaku down. The fact that he got that opportunity, that one shot on goal, there was still like 3-4 players around him when he did get the shot off. So that was him being good and to get it off, but they made it very difficult for him. They continued to like put him in between the two and pass him off. Like it was very hard for him to be free and do what he wanted to do. And what I'm hoping for, and to kind of like reiterate that I'm not worried, is that him and potentially Mason Mount or Werner, I mean, I'll ask you guys a question in a second about that, will build a relationship with Lukaku to where they understand each other so well that this isn't an issue anymore. Like Lukaku will be able to like shift away from between the two center backs and Mason Mount will fill in. And I don't know, I see the potential there, but it's going to take some time. And that leads me to my question about your thoughts on Werner not starting and Ziyech getting that start and obviously potentially squandering it.
Let me one up your question with another question. You know what's more surprising?
The Uno reverse.
Ross Barkley came in off the bench over Timo Werner. I can understand Timo not starting. Great option off the bench. Especially if it's not working, you need his pace to change it up. Ross Barkley came in over him at the end. Really surprised by that move. And I even put it in our Discord during the match. We have this huge chat going. And I was like, we've used 4 subs. I'm like, all right, Timo's spot on, definitely coming on. I was shocked. I mean, why would you want to try to go body to body with that Juventus back line? Let's try to get in behind them. Let's avoid them at all costs, or try to get them on the backside running towards goal because they're going to do something clumsy. Odds are that tends to happen, and we didn't try to exploit that at all.
I don't have an answer for you about sorry, go Dan.
No, I think the Ziyech experiment has not panned out in a fashion that would lead you to believe that he could be the starting attacker in this Chelsea side, particularly if Tuchel wants to play possession, fast movement, high intensity, challenge for every ball. I mean, I thought it was a little funny, but I was like, I kind of think that Ziyech probably could have gotten a yellow card the way that this was going, like within the first 30 minutes with how heavy he was going in. But his off the ball type of activity is not as intense as I think it needs to be. Whereas like, I think when you get Werner, like there are people, I think Werner is like one of the most polarizing players. Like people either love him or hate him. I think what he would give you in this type of match, though, is like actually stretching this defense in a way that they wouldn't have. Like they were very static. They could just kind of like hover around Lukaku, and Havertz and Ziyech were going so narrow that the defenders actually really didn't have to do too much. Like they could kind of all camp in one place and be okay with their positioning and not have to worry about like, oh, some really fast dude's about to run by me. I have to have a second mind, or I have to kind of have an eye in the back of my head and keep paying attention to where Timo might be. I think that's what we were missing. And I think to that point where Brandon is, I was actually super surprised, unless we're thinking Mount maybe isn't ready for the weekend and Tuchel's like, I kind of want to like last ditch effort reserve him for Southampton because he's going to need to play then.
So Ziyech played as a number 10. His heat map is bright green, right on top of the 18. He played right in the hole behind Lukaku with 59 touches and did diddly squat. Now, going to maybe the rest of the subs, Jenny, and maybe you have an idea from your playing days, the subs seemed very premeditated to bring Jorginho and Aspi off, those are huge characters on the pitch. You could even say for Tuchel, it's probably captain, vice captain. It almost seemed like they knew they only had X amount of minutes from a fitness level standpoint, and then they had to come off. Because I thought it was really weird that you would take both those guys off at the same time. Granted, you put 3 young kids on to go run their asses off, and they did it. But to me, I think a lot of the subs we saw today, again, Andreas Christensen coming off seemed a little bit weird. He had to put Trevo in the midfield, then dropped him in. It all seemed premeditated. So while I rant a little bit about Barkley going in, I feel like Tuchel was definitely having to balance the fitness game with these subs.
Here's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to get to your question, but I think that potentially, as Dan was like breaking things down, the reason why Werner can't start is because they knew that Juventus was going to get packed in and they weren't going to have that space to get in behind, which is what we're expecting from Werner. And if they're going to be like basically a block of 8 or 2 lines of 4, it's going to be harder for him to do what we like to use him for, what we in our minds think that he does best. And maybe that's why he started Ziyech there, and then Ziyech would play under Lukaku, like you said, in that 18 area, and that he didn't get those touches. That could have been Tuchel's thought process there as to why Werner didn't go in at all, because they weren't going to open up what the space would be what we would want him to exploit normally, right? The other substitutions, that was so odd to me. I said it on the Twitch stream. I was like, what are these subs? I'm so confused by all of these decisions right now. And then the way that everything had to move around when these subs came in, the fact that you're thinking that it's premeditated and because of minutes. I mean, it's quite a few games in a short span of time. So maybe, but I was just going to ask you guys, like, I don't understand this decision. Like, the subs don't make sense. I mean, I think he addressed it after the fact, Dan, and he said something along the lines of like bringing on energy or something like that. But I didn't get it.
I don't think there was a lot to get with them personally. He can give an answer, and I think he is entitled to give an answer and his opinion, and he made the decision, so you would hope that his answer speaks to it in the most real way possible. But I actually think, I don't know, I actually don't think they were premeditated to the point that Brandon had. Like, I think he was trying to shock this team into some type of realization that, like, you are title defenders. We have now spent, in the second game of this Champions League season, more time behind, more time in a losing position than we did in the entirety of the last campaign under 2 managers, under Frank Lampard and Thomas Tuchel. And so that is something that maybe just says we need to wake up. We need to realize that we are the team everybody wants to go out and beat. And we can't just act like we are the champions of Europe and expect people to respect it. They're not going to respect it. Like, we have to earn the respect through our play, and that didn't happen with the way that we approach this game.
Right. Well, how much of a difference is it? Like, obviously it's different. Going in as quote unquote, like, not expected to win Champions League and then coming in as winners, that's going to be a change of psyche, like you were kind of mentioning. Do you think that that's affecting them right now? Do you think that that's what that is? I don't think it was like we're coming in here like not caring because we're better than Juventus. Like, I wouldn't say that that's the reason why things didn't go well today.
Fluke goal to concede 10 seconds after halftime is 100% mental. Literally just were not switched on. And you know, what do they say? It's like the first 5 minutes of a game, 5 minutes on either side of halftime, 5 minutes to the end. That's when you tend to see the biggest mental breakdowns of teams and when you want to pounce. You know, you just hear that, you know, growing up playing at all these different levels. And the same thing is here. 10 seconds. I mean, they didn't drop it back and boot it long. Well, you know, whatever. They did hit the long ball and flick in, but like Chelsea just were not paying attention whatsoever. And credit to Chiesa. It was a great finish. You know, he roofed it near post, but that to me, like, that's 100% mental. And again, I get it. I'm going to stand firmly on the side that Chelsea did more than enough to win this game. Again, and I'm going to take the stat side versus the eye test and say it looked like dog shit on TV. When you break down the stats, if I'm an analyst, if I'm a coach going, what more did you want? We produced everything for these players to go. Now, right, there's 80-20, right? The players have to get the final 20. But Tuchel's going to go home and go to sleep. No problem, Dan.
I doubt that.
That's on the players.
I fucking doubt that one. I think you have to wed the two.
Tactically, he has no concern.
benefit of stats is that they can help inform what you see. I think the play, like the possession was too passive. Like the shots were not high quality shots. And so like, yes, you can say like we did enough on paper, but like this paper is also full of lies. Like it's like through like I think it could be both at the same time. Like we did not do enough to win by the benefit of saying like that we did not get those shots weren't great shots on target. And the shots on only one of those shots entirely was actually on target.
Here's one of the things that I find difficult with stats, because I love stats. You'll hear me like talk about stats all the time, is like starting to turn them into like an understanding. Is I think that in this situation, Juve was like okay with them having the possession. So them having nearly 800 passes is very impressive, but it's not if Juve's plan was to let you pass the ball away. And yeah, you said a lot of it was going like side to side. The lack of verticality could potentially be in the lineup that we have. And it's not because Tuchel wanted to do that. It's because we don't have those players available that we potentially could use in that sense to be more vertical. I mean, when I think of Christian Pulisic, because I cover him a lot with the U.S. men's national team, he's going to go vertical. He's going to go vertical. He's not available.
It's true. I mean, that's, I think, what people are saying. Mason drives, Christian drives. We don't have that. You know what, Dan, fine. Maybe I'll say this. Maybe Tuchel's biggest regret tonight will be trusting players more than he should.
I would agree with that. I think that is a wonderful way to frame it, because in general, you look at someone like Alonso who really struggled against Cuadrado today. Like that was definitely a battle where if
aren't we about on time for him to have that dip?
Oh, don't be that mean, because he's actually been one of our better players for the first part of the season.
Thought exercise, that's it. It's innocent.
Look, I think it's, but that's one of the ones where it's like, yes, I get why you would want to favor players that you trust and you have a high trust barrier for, but they're not automatons, right? Like they are not robots. So they will have regression in their playing form occasionally, and maybe you need to rotate or rest or build up. And like, to his credit, he did try a couple players. Like he tried Ziyech in here to give him an opportunity, right? Like he did give someone else an opportunity, but Alonso didn't look like he was finding a lot of goodness here. I mean, the back three were pretty solid still. I mean, Christensen, I think this was actually one of the hardest defensive assignments he had. Chiesa was really good, like just end to end. Like he was the best player on the pitch for Juventus this entire evening and made it really difficult. And so not his best day out the office, but he's had a really good season. And then Kovacic and Jorginho, probably their worst duo pairing in quite some time.
Yeah, they had a lot to deal with as well. Again, a 3-on-2 on them in the middle. When I say maybe trust players, I'm teasing with Alonso. Obviously, he's earned every single minute he's played. I'm thinking like the Ziyech has struggled, Kai has struggled, and unfortunately, Jorginho and Kovacic, what we're going to get with them. N'Golo Kante is the key to all success, and he has been the key to all success at Chelsea for the last 3 to 4 seasons at a minimum. And the only reason you can maybe get away with not all the seasons he's been here is because Eden Hazard was here, and he could literally just backpack the team. So again, it's just not good enough from some of these players. I don't know how many more opportunities that Hakim Ziyech is going to get to play. I think a lot of fans are really starting to grow weary. Nothing personal. He doesn't seem to really fit the style, which is weird. I felt like he would have ran a lot in Ajax's system. Again, I didn't watch Ajax. It's just that is not clicking. But to your point, Tuchel did make the changes, and he will always make changes. Immediately brought Chilwell off the bench. He did fine. I mean, he looked rusty, I'll tell you that. And then he made the triple sub. And I think the triple sub was where everyone kind of sat up in their chairs, right? We're like, ooh, wait, Trevo? Callum? Ruben? Is that you? A triple Cobham sub? And Jenny, I know that's when a lot of our Discord lit up. I think a lot of Twitter timelines lit up. It's saying, I wonder what this is going to yield. Then you see Ruben and Trevo both go into the midfield, and Callum slotting in at wingback, which really just played a right forward the whole time, and is kind of like a new lease on the game. They definitely brought life and energy to the match.
I think that that's a type of pressure to the players that started that maybe they didn't see coming. Something that you talked about earlier was the fact that, okay, they're Champions League winners and they can't be like high and mighty about that or whatever. That move right there, if anybody was feeling themselves, they can't anymore. Even if it was, we'll say, because you mentioned it earlier, potentially a planned sub, you're thinking people are excited about this. People are ready for us to kind of like turn over and replace us. And I think that Tuchel, I don't know what you guys would say about this, but like potentially has like some mind games. Like he's thinking like ahead of you, like how it's going to affect you when I do this potentially. And I have previously, said I really like that about him, that he's thinking ahead that way. Do you think that was this? Like this move, he's like, get something in your head right now that like none of you are irreplaceable. Like I will show you guys that you didn't do well enough and you're out.
Say it, Dan. So just say whatever you're thinking.
Go. You're biting your tongue. Don't do it. Tell me what you are thinking.
We don't censor ourselves here.
It could be. I think Ruben has earned it, and he's been like I would say he's probably now the fourth choice midfielder. And so I think the Trev one was probably the most interesting to me, that he said, you know what, we're really gonna play around here, and I'm gonna take off Ziyech, who had a bad performance, and take off Jorginho, who looks tired. Like the dude has played way more football. Like all of these players have played way too much football and not gotten the appropriate amount of rest. Like, so like we can also add that as like an asterisk for any of them who played in the Euros and played deep into the finals. Like he looks tired. And so, yes, you need to get him rest and get him an opportunity. But I think when you can bring on three players who understand from like at a youth level what it means to play for Chelsea, that was something that was missing. I think this was the first time since like the 90s where a fully non-English Chelsea side was fielded, and the first time by Thomas Tuchel, according to our friend Matt Law, which was a kind of interesting little nugget too. Is like we have all these great players that are being developed. I think Ruben probably looked the brightest of the bunch. He was really kind of avoiding some tackles, using his body in a way I think that showed some confidence that he is, able to command himself and impose himself in the game. Trev looked comfortable with some of his passes. I hate Callum being deployed in that right wing side, kind of alone. He was getting a lot of 2-on-1s where it's like, okay, I don't know what I expect him to do on a 2-on-1 situation outright when nobody is close enough with him to interchange, but maybe he can whip the ball and cross it in. Like, I think we were spamming crosses at that point, Brandon. And yeah, it's like fun and it looks cool, but it's not necessarily gonna, like, if he's isolated out there, it doesn't really improve the game.
You say right wing back. Callum's heat map, he's literally on the right flank outside of their 18 for the minutes he was there. I didn't see him doing a whole lot of defending. So maybe he went in for Aspie, but he had a remit to go forward. And he did. Or he just said, screw it, I'm going forward. We need a goal. I doubt it was that one. I'm going to go back to this is why, and this is the last time I'm going to touch on it, that I think the subs were premeditated. You can tell me Tuchel's playing 3D chess, that he puts Trevo on in the midfield for 10 minutes later, then move him to right center back. That just seemed too convenient for me, that like Christensen, Jorginho, Aspie, rock solid players that you figure would play the whole time. To me, that again, that's my final point. I'm still sticking with this premeditated. I get your point though. Ruben, why you liked him, Dan? Because he gambled with his passes, right? Kovacic and Jorginho, what are they great at? Possession. All right. But they don't like to gamble that pass into Lukaku. Lukaku was posting up on the box. He put his hand up and said, feed me the rock. And no one did. Ruben was like, screw it, I'll give it to you and I'm going to run off you. He was ready to be dynamic. And he was willing to risk that pass, mainly because if he didn't come off, his legs are so long, he was right there to at least tackle or try to win it back. So again, I think that's what we saw out of Ruben that we weren't seeing out of anyone else on the field. I thought Trevo was a bit anxious in his play, but overall he settled into it. But I mean, Tuchel's still literally telling 3 kids, Ruben's a man now, go in, change the game. It's Juventus away. Go be positive. I mean, that's a huge ask for them too.
Yeah, I think it's out of the 3, Ruben, I think, had the best go of it to the point we made there. But in general, it's nice to see that we're relying upon these players and that Tuchel trusts them enough to impact, like to try to go out and impact the game in this way. Like these weren't 5 minutes left in the half substitutions. These were decent chunks of minutes to go out and try and impact the game. And I think from that point, Jenny, like we're getting to see and getting some opportunities for players who could, Ruben could move further up the depth chart. Chalobah could, find himself through an injury to someone else, be a starting player in this side. And Callum has not, there's not a person laying a flag down saying, I am a undroppable starter in our attack at the moment. And if he could potentially have one great game, he might find himself on a run of starts.
Yeah, I'm looking at our subs here and who else? Like he doesn't really have any like options other than the ones that he played. And none of them are like, yes, of course, duh, besides the Werner situation that we talked about that he just didn't go in. I don't know. This is my whole thought, okay? My 3-word match review was I'm not worried because you're looking at the group and the top 2 teams are Juve, Chelsea. Like if those 2 teams don't get out of the group, something went very, very wrong. Losing to Juve, I'm not that worried right now. Like I genuinely am like, Zenit, Malmo, Chelsea wins those games. Like Chelsea gets out of the group, period. Whether they have a lull, I'm not freaking out about it because things don't always go like this. Like life and soccer and football and everything in this world has to have a little bit of bumpiness. And I'm okay with it. Like I genuinely didn't think of it as like oh my God, hit the panic button. Like we lost 2 games in a row. And I know that some people do hit the panic button in that instance, but we've been in this for what? You guys have been doing this for 7-8 seasons. This happens. I mean,
no, it's always totally calm. There's no problems or issues. We never have managerial crises. There's never players out of form. It's just so even keel.
Hey, I can provide some context and maybe the anxiety, Jenny. All right.
Yeah.
And this is from the Google Insights. Chelsea's defeat.
From the Googles.
Chelsea's defeat ended a run of 12 unbeaten group stage games in the UEFA Champions League since September 2019 when they lost 1-0 against Valencia. It's been a while, right? We're not really accustomed to this. We've kind of been doing great. But you are right with the group table, and I was going to get to that in a second. I do just want to touch on it and do a little self-promotion here because I tweeted out the midfield depth chart under Tuchel, and immediately, so I put Conte 1, Jorginho 2, Kovacic 3, Ruben 4, Chalobah 5, apparently, based on the triple sub, Sewell 6, Barkley 7, Baker 8. And I went off the website, so that's everyone listed, right? And I said, Mount's an attacker, leave me alone. Immediately sent that tweet, Barkley comes in. Well, shit. All right. Apparently Tuchel wanted me to know that Barkley's 6 and Sewell's 7. Got it. So interesting dynamics with the midfield. Not real thrilled about it.
I think maybe where the anxiety actually like pulling
maybe
back
concern. Maybe we shouldn't use the word anxiety.
Well,
concern.
Anxiety is fine. I mean, if you're feeling anxious about the run of form, is that there's been like a lot of half performances. Right? Like Chelsea clocking in for half of a match and having enough individual talent or luck or just being generally better coached to get a result, right? Like our match versus Tottenham. I mean, we won 3-0, but like we were flat for a portion of that match. Like we had to go to penalties against Villa in the cup round. Manchester City, like we didn't really show up until after they scored. The match against Arsenal, again, was another match where it came good, but it didn't necessarily it wasn't easy. Like we really haven't had, outside of the Palace game, like none of our matches this season have been easy. And like part of that is, yes, we are playing really top tier sides. Like we've played Man City, we've been away to Liverpool, we've been been away to Tottenham. Like we have really had a tough run of fixtures. And so I think hopefully we're being molded a little bit by this crucible that we've entered. But I do think that we have not had a consistent 90 that has looked strong start to finish in the way that maybe the aspirations, whether they are the aspirations of the players, the team, the manager, or just supporters who see the talent on this side, see what was done in that magical Champions League run, and think that this team could go do something super, super special, like win a Premier League, like win the Club World Cup, like run back deep into the Champions League again. And I think maybe the reality is catching up with the anticipation, which is the genesis for that anxiety or that frustration.
Okay, but what I'm thinking is that it's so early in the season. Like, it's a long season and there is so much time. Like, the fact that you guys had 5 of these podcasts, like, you guys are going to do like 100 podcasts before we get to the time when things are actually like worth the anxiety. I get it. Like, when we're fans today on the Twitch stream, people were like, Jenny, you're never like this when Chelsea's playing. You're so calm right now. I'm like, it is so early. It is so early. I'm just not worried. Like, I have so much faith in the fact that things will get themselves together. And this is a game where we're missing very important players, and it's early, and we're going to win the group. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to win the group. We're getting out of the group anyway. And I really hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but I don't know.
If we didn't get out of this group, that would be a serious red flag.
We all said it was a great draw.
Something will have to have gone. Yeah, something will have to have gone. Like, and this would be the team that if you were going to lose any of the matches in the group, that you would expect that Juventus could get a result
on the
against
road.
us. It sucks. It sucks that it was without some of their best players. No Dybala, no Morata to come back. So now we have the ghost of Morata to potentially give Juventus 2 wins over us, that time at Stamford Bridge. But he hasn't like scored at Stamford Bridge. That's great. It's perfect. We actually got a defense shield set up against it. It's wonderful. But yeah, like, this would have been the game you would have expected. This is the individual team that would play us the toughest. And they did give us a match today. And like, sometimes you have to tip your hat and be like, Juventus had a plan. Juventus played us perfectly. And we have to have a solution for when teams are going to really sit back, top tier sides that can defend just as good as we can and come up with the solution.
I saw a video, guys. I didn't watch it, but I saw a video on YouTube that I think it's Football Made Simple that says how to defeat a Thomas Tuchel side. Came out a week ago. And since that video, 2 teams have beat us. I don't know. Just kidding. That was a joke.
Or at False Winger saying last season Chelsea were creating chances and there was no one to finish them. Now Chelsea have a finisher in Lukaku, but he's not getting a lot of chances. The irony, I know, it's thick. All right.
Well, it's because he was relying upon the United States Postal Service to deliver it. And like, as we know, over the past couple of years, it's been defunded. It's been maybe adjusted a little bit. Connection. Gets there like 3 to 5 days later. Like,
Okay, Dana's on Prime. Always worried about shipping and delivery. I get it. Other thoughts? Kate trying to say, quick, look the other way. What's worse, us losing or Man United winning? Kate, that doesn't make me feel better. Like a 94th minute goal for United to win. I don't care. I don't want to worry about them. We're gonna have to play them in the league soon. Of course, there's Ronaldo. Like just to be
adds insult to injury.
He took his shirt off. He did it again.
That was impressive. That moment right there.
Never mind.
No, that's not literally what I was talking about. I was like, whoa. Anyways.
A lot of muscles. Dan, you canceled your day in the match. I get it.
Yeah, when we lose, we don't do it. You know, it's not part of the rhythm.
I'm going to ask you to see if you can go to 538 and pull some probabilities if there are. But anyways, Jenny, as you said, Juventus are in first in the group. We're in Group H, or as our friends across the pond say, Group H, and it drives me up a wall. I love all of you in the UK, but what in the world? Juventus first on 6 points, Chelsea second on 3 points, Zenit third also on 3 points. Obviously, we beat them, so head-to-head goes our way. And Malma is 0 points. -7 goal difference. So kind of sucks for them, but you probably want to go beat them by 2, 3, 4 goals just to make sure goal difference doesn't become a factor in the equation. And I'm pretty sure we play them home and away back-to-back next. I don't remember which fixtures first. We play them and then kind of reverse the order. So ideally, we'll have it all locked up before we even play Juventus at home and won't have to worry about it. Shout out to, this is actually kind of funny, to Ollie Glanville on Twitter. He's like, yeah, so pretty much we're going to need a minimum of 6 points from Malma on the next 2 matches. And I was like, got it. So out of a maximum possible of 6, we need a minimum of 6. Thanks, Prof. Nailed it. But you know, Jenny's preaching the good word out here that, hey, be patient. We're good. We got time. We could be in a worse position. Barcelona's at the bottom of their group.
Yeah, we don't want to be that. But adversity early is good. You know, when you think about like a child, that's such a bad example. You get it out of the way early and then you learn and then you never make those mistakes again and you're a better adult for it. That'll, you know, You're a better adult for it.
Your parents are proud.
Clearly, I'm not a mother yet. If I just said adversity when they're young is great, just give it all to them.
Yeah, no. We're all sitting here in our like downtown suburban apartments. Like, yeah, kids are great. I bet it's fun.
Get all the sicknesses so that your immune system builds up, and then you never get them again. Basically, soccer. Translate it.
Exactly. Dan, do you have some probabilities?
Yeah, so the current probabilities from the SPI 538 soccer predictions have to win the final is Man City on top of 22% probability.
Will they ever learn?
No, they won't. Bayern at 19, Ajax at 11, which seems very overrated. Liverpool at 10, Chelsea at 8, Real Madrid at 5, PSG at 3, Atletico Madrid at 3, Dortmund at 3. Atletico Madrid, that was they snuck a win there. That was unfortunate for Milan. I felt they were very hard done.
Jenny, I'm putting PSG and Bayern well ahead of City.
Okay.
Oh, you just got put on the spot.
I can see that.
He just did it.
City, they're not gonna be able to ever do it, huh?
They're just inconsistent. But if you can tell me like man to man, like looking at each other across the pitch, they have Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar in attack. Like, no, I get there's no actual striker, but like you're telling me it's better than Sterling, Ferran Torres, and Foden? Like, yeah, PSG all day.
But the thing about it, so PSG, I think that
they just beat them 2-0.
No. But there's such a possibility for them to implode later. Like,
oh, for sure.
That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Like at first it was like, oh, they have those three on the team. They have Ramos as well coming back at some point. Like they win it, put all my money on it. And then it's like, wait a second. When you put that many strong personalities, great players in the world, something's going to implode at some point.
Well, they don't like their manager. But I still think that like that's a player locker room, right, Jenny? Where you're just like, hey, everyone, come here. All right, this is what we're doing. We're good. All right, let's go do it. And they just kind of go do their own thing, and they're so damn good that it still pulls off. But that's how I feel, Dan.
What would be wonderful if that group could somehow get City into the Europa League stages?
Holy smokes now.
To give them Thursday football for the remainder of the season, that would be ideal.
Fold.
That would be so ideal for the title race.
Fold.
We would love that. That'd be really helpful. If you could do us a solid Bruges and PSG, just keep up doing what you're doing. It'd be amazing.
Chance City take that serious. They throw out the kids and lose the first round, and then they come back. Like, I don't even think that they want to win the Europa League.
Who knows?
You want to find out. All right, another fair thought experiment.
I do want to find out. I want to find out. Would they go for it?
All right. Look, I got nothing else.
You don't agree? Wait, you don't think that those three will ever turn on each other this season? Messi, Mbappe, Neymar.
Oh yeah, they will. They will at some point.
I think it's interesting because Mbappe might sign a contract elsewhere in January. He's out of contract in the summer, and if he does, two things happen, and we know this. They either rally to say this is the last run, or they just be like, screw you, you're not committed to the team, like we don't need you. And look,
that's another interesting group though.
Poch is way over his head.
But who
like the Real Madrid,
who could handle a locker room like that?
I don't think anyone can, which is why they haven't. I mean, they've tried.
Yeah.
Tuchel probably thinks Chelsea was a breeze after leaving that situation. I mean, Ancelotti, I think he went to Madrid on his own accord, so maybe him, because I hear he's a player's manager, doesn't do a lot of coaching. Obviously, Mourinho couldn't, and I don't think like a Hansi Flick or anyone like from Germany like that who's like progressive with the system. I just don't think that they care to hear about that.
I'm excited with what's happening in Group D and Real Madrid and the Sheriff game, even though like the formation of Sheriff is like super questionable on like how legitimate or not it's potentially like mafioso style funding is. The Real Madrid losing was quite special, and I think it'd be really interesting to see Real Madrid and Man City both find themselves in Europa League. That would just be, I'd love it. Like give me more top tier sides that are struggling in Europa League. Like right now, I mean, United is technically still in third position. So if it ended today as it did, United would go to Europa League. City would go to Europa League. Like this is all good. This is fun.
Yeah.
This is a fun little thought exercise. I'm like, how crazy could you make Europa League? And like all these teams are playing now, they're like, oh, fuck. Like, please no. Please not this team.
Well, to Jenny's point, a lot of matches yet to be played, but it's also a great advertisement for hashtag say no to the Super League or whatever the hashtag was. So
100%. Yeah.
Young Boys, Sheriff, Club Brugge. I mean, really, really interesting.
Hold on. I've heard it both ways and now I'm like confused. Club Brugge
I don't know.
or Club Brugge. I've heard it both ways and I've said it both ways and I'm like, which one is right?
Dan.
Someone on Twitter is going to let us know.
Let's reach out to Jason. He's in Brussels.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Jason, hey, WhatsApp. I need a voice memo tomorrow. Thanks, boss.
Just hit us after you listen to this tomorrow morning.
Salzburg is top of their group. That's an interesting one. Salzburg, Sevilla, Wolfsburg, and Lille. You'd assume it's kind of a toss-up in that group. But look, the Champions League is fun. Are you enjoying covering it, Jenny? Has it been fun from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I prefer to be in Europe right now, but I think that's going to come later for me. But I love Champions League. Like, I wake up on a day when I know there's Champions League games, and it's just a different energy. I'm like, yep, today's the day, 3 p.m., let's go. So I'm happy it's back. And hopefully I get to be on with you guys a little more this season.
Ooh,
would be a delight.
Little teaser.
Well, we're excited to have you. Obviously, we're going to try to lock you in as often as we can, we promise. But again, just thanks for hanging out with us on your Wednesday evening. We're now East Coast, Midwest, No Coast, and West Coast, covering all of the time zones. So this group is putting in a massive effort. Dan's coming right off work. Jen, he's doing it right before bed. So you're all heroes.
You are too.
Thanks, boss.
You are too.
Just hanging out right in the sweet spot.
Please. 5 this week? Not happening for me. And I took a lot of your guys' time today, gossiping and such.
All right. Well, we appreciate it as always. And look, Chelsea fans, tweet us. We covered a lot. I think I probably ranted more than I normally do, but that's what happens when Nick's not here. I'm able to, grab that runway and go.
You saying he suppresses you? Like he kind of like just doesn't let you speak your truth? Do we need to have an intervention?
No, I just think it's easier for me to rant without him.
Oh, okay.
There's one less person, so there's more room.
I'm just going to take care of you. I'm thinking about you.
Anyways, I'm sure that'll be fun in the Discord tomorrow, but Nick doesn't check it, so we're all right. Anyways, that's going to wrap us up. Again, go thank Jenny on Twitter and or Instagram. Tell her you appreciate having her on. And, you tell me, you going to take Jenny's side and not worry? Why not us, right? Anyways, that's going to wrap us up. So until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.